Hello everyone, and I have returned with another video here. I hope everyone has had a good holiday season and a good New Year. It's been around a month since the last video, but the weather overall has been fairly quiet for the most part. Some minor winter weather disturbances throughout the Ohio Valley, but nothing crazy, nothing to really make a um, full video on. So. Sort of just took the time to um, sort of relax from school and whatnot, and I was traveling, so it was kind of hard to have time for videos throughout some of the winter break. But I'm here with the another video just to sort of update you guys on the weather, sort of see what we can see for the rest of the month of January, um, for the most part at least. But yeah, let's start off with just our national snowfall analysis. So the season accumulation so far across the country, and I want to sort of zoom in on our Ohio Valley region. Um, and we can see most of our Ohio Valley is around that 1 foot of snow, um, especially our upper Ohio Valley. If we get down to our lower Ohio Valley, central Kentucky, southern Kentucky, even the coal field, parts of the coal fields, maybe a little bit below average for this time of year, but still has seen, some of that white stuff on the ground. Um, Several inches of snow across, central and southern Kentucky, but most of our snow has been across the upper Ohio Valley, especially northern central Indiana, northern Ohio, and central and northern Illinois. Um, or 1 to 2 feet for the most part has fallen so far. So, as of mid-January, this is, pretty good so far for the year. However, we do need, a few more snowstorms to sort of keep things afloat, um, average wise. But I do think we will see some more snow within the next week or two. How much though, I'm not sure. It could just be a few inches. It could be more, but we'll sort of dig into that a little bit. But thought this was pretty cool to sort of just share. We can see our Sierra Nevada mountains here with lots of snow over the last few weeks. Pretty dry on the West Coast in the last week or two. I'm thinking that will change actually in the next week or so, especially across central and southern California. And that's also going to set up a pretty wet pattern across central, the central U.S. Um, but that's sort of towards the end of the month, closer to the end of the month. So let's look at our climate prediction center sort of outlooks here. And I did notice this kind of when I loaded up a little while ago. La Nina persists, followed by a 75% chance of a neutral Enso phase during January through March. So that's something to be looking for our weather, sort of for the end of winter into spring. But we can see here um, our 6 to 10 day outlook. We'll start off with this here, and you can see sort of our north eastern coast um, part of the country. We're going to have those cooler temperatures possible um, through January 19th through the 23rd. This is what this is valid for. And the precipitation we can see through the mid south through the Ohio Valley. We do have that chance for above average precipitation, but much of the country will be seeing some nice rainfall, or at least near normal rainfall, other than the southeast and far northwestern portions. So, much needed rainfall for sort of southern Texas and into Colorado and New Mexico. However, it will be pretty warm on that side of the country. But we do see that sort of slightly above average rainfall for that central Southern California. So that's something to um, look forward to. I think there will be another sort of round of, of wet weather across the Southwest. So look at our 8 to 14 days. So this sort of goes out through the last week of January here. And northern part of the country, Climate Prediction Center likes that sort of below average temperature, including the Ohio Valley. And when we match the sort of cooler weather, like the 6 to 10 day outlook here, with the potential for above average precipitation, could see some wintry weather. Which are sort of the two key, in general, ingredients you need. But that sort of shows up again on the 8 to 14 day outlook here. And the Mid South can really um, see that above average rainfall potentially. And then really across the Rocky Mountains as well. So Colorado Mountains, Wyoming Mountains, with the below average snowpack, can finally maybe start to see um, some more snow across those regions. If we look to the 3 to 4 week outlook, this is where it gets sort of a bit more difficult to sort of pin down what will happen. Even the 8 to 14 day outlook is sort of difficult to pin down. Um, but they do a pretty good job, better than sort of what I would do, of course. But um, our 3 to 4 week outlook, again, northeast, Ohio Valley, below average temperatures, and we do see some of that above average precipitation possible across the mid Atlantic and the lower Ohio Valley. So, um, take this with a grain of salt. This isn't going to be set in stone, even the 8 to 14 day. The 6 to 10 day, I have pretty high confidence on these graphics here. 8 to 14 day, lower confidence, and then even lower when you get down to the like 1 month outlook. Um, Here's our drought monitor here. May as well add this in, and yeah, we can see a lot of the country is not having enough rainfall. So hopefully these next few weeks we can sort of see some of this clear out, especially across sort of a Great Lake region here, Lake Michigan, Illinois, Indiana, and even southern Texas, and then, like I mentioned, southern Wyoming, Colorado, even Utah, New Mexico. Hopefully that can sort of fade away a little bit as well. Even though it does say long-term impacts possible, so we'll see about that. But in our 1 month outlook, may as well for January as a whole here. Um, yeah, I mean, northern half can see those below average temperatures. Western half of the country above average precipitation. The southeast is going to stay dry, and that's been really the story of the winter for the southeast. So let's sort of just get through of like today's weather, tomorrow's weather real quickly here across the Ohio Valley. Um, so this morning we'll have a sort of a short wave associated with this trough digging in out of Canada, and it'll sort of stay that the main low pressure will sort of stay over um, the Great Lakes and sort of deepen as it moves northeast into the northeast region, New England region. But the short wave will bring some showers in through today. Some could be a bit heavier towards the evening time, 4 p.m. Eastern here. And as we can see that Arctic air crashing in behind, that moisture off Lake Michigan being sort of um, tracked down to the southeast with that sort of southeasterly flow. And we see that sort of snow squall, light snow shower sort of activity last through the overnight hours to Thursday morning. No accumulations really expected. Maybe a dusting on the cars and roofs and whatnot, but in grass. But then we have another sort of Arctic air intrusion, I guess, but another sort of shot of Arctic air out of Canada, and it's going to be working its way throughout the Midwest. And I guess we can just show it here real quick. Um, But yeah, here's this first low pressure that will deepen across the northeast overnight tonight into tomorrow morning. And we can see that it does bring a good shot of cool air across the southeast. It's going to be pretty cool, like Atlanta, Charlotte, Nashville, Memphis, Raleigh, but even Charleston, South Carolina could even be a bit below average. Definitely a little bit below average. But we can see the second shot of Arctic air right through here. We can see our gradients really tight, and we can see our thickness lines here are 522, 528, 534. These are our thickness lines. The lower these numbers are indicates the sort of deeper that cool air is. So we have a 516 here, indicates that this is going to be a pretty good shot of cool air for this time of year. Nothing insane, but you'll definitely feel it out there. And then we'll have this secondary shot of cool air associated with this low pressure here over the peninsula of Michigan. And this is going to bring that sort of shortwave snow shower activity into the Ohio Valley sort of Friday morning into Friday afternoon. Light accumulations possible. Nothing crazy. We can check the NAM real quick here. See what the NAM is showing. Um, we see that sort of shortwave um, rain shower activity throughout today. As we move on throughout overnight, we can see the snow squall, like snow shower activity. So pretty similar. We have a deepening low pressure over the northeastern region overnight into the morning. Big shot of Arctic air. Maybe a little bit cooler than NAM, might be a little bit cooler. And then we have that secondary low pressure start to deepen, start to sort of move through the peninsula. Same sort of timing. Um, oh, it did not even change. So, excuse me. No wonder why it looks so similar. But yeah, the name actually does have sort of the similar um, setup here. Even does have that 510 thickness line as the HRRR, the last model that I showed. So very similar sort of Arctic air sort of outlooks here or forecast here. And then we can see Friday morning our deepening low pressure a little bit further south, but the same general area. We can see our snow showers across the Ohio Valley with light accumulations, even some rain popping up across the lower Ohio Valley. Um, but yeah, we do see that shot of that secondary polar air sort of start moving its way in at this time, Friday evening to Friday afternoon, Friday evening. But the NAM is very similar. The NAM 3K very similar to the HRRR. Um, my apologies for showing that again. Didn't realize it, but pretty pretty crappy weather for the next few days across the Ohio Valley. I want to just show our operational Euro and GFS real quick. Um, Here's our Euro model. This is tonight, overnight, deepening low pressure, same sort of ordeal. Um, It's a little bit weaker with, not weaker, but a little bit less with the precipitation, showing less precipitation with the secondary Arctic shot here with the low pressure over Michigan, Lake Michigan. Um, Something to sort of maybe point out, but again, some snow showers possible Friday and then overnight into Saturday morning. Light accumulations, but look at the Euro here. Look how deep this Arctic air. And this is only this is only like 4 or 5 days out, so this is getting into that sort of range of where we kind of need to start paying attention instead of following trends. This might be a little too far south, a little bit too extreme, but we'll sort of compare that with the GFS here in a second. But look how far south this Arctic air goes, like Memphis, Nashville, Birmingham, Alabama, um, even Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia, Knoxville. And I mean, even showing some, and I'm not sold on this at all, but showing some wintry precipitation possible throughout the south, but um, we can see it kind of right there. But the odds of that are extremely low at this point still. Um, you know, just to sort of keep it realistic here. I know it's exciting, but um, very low odds of actually having some winter precipitation. But I mean, we do have that Arctic air, and if we get some moisture, anything's possible. Anything's possible. So let's look at our GFS. Let's see what the GFS is sort of saying. Um, Here's that shortwave secondary Arctic blast here. Has a bit more snow with it, but same sort of ordeal as the Euro, and maybe a bit more snow shower activity across the Appalachian Mountains in the coal fields, Virginia, West Virginia, Pennsylvania, Saturday morning, and then even into Saturday afternoon possible. Some snow shower activity, light accumulations possible. And, well, we have that deep Arctic air, so here's the GFS, and we do have showing the same sort of setup here of that deep shot of Arctic air mixing in with moisture. Again, the same sort of time frame, maybe a little extra few days ahead, but um, this will need. I think this is gonna need watching. This is gonna need watching. I don't think this is gonna happen. I don't like we can't go off one model run, one sort of operational run, and we're gonna look at the ensemble models and see what they sort of show. So, sort of compare what our operational to our ensemble models, which is better to use sort of 5 days out instead of our operational. But it is interesting to note that our Euro and GFS show some type of wintry potential across the southeast. That is sort of alerting to me that we will need to sort of keep an eye on this the next few days and see how our models sort of handle this. And the GFS really likes to deepen this thing across the northeast. Um, Here, I mean, that's a big snowstorm, but too far out. It's too far out. So let's look at our ensembles. Let's see what our ensembles show. And this is our height map here. And this just shows me where our warmer weather, more sort of sunny, warmer weather will be in general, and where our more active, cooler weather will be in general. That's not always the case, but it does show, a decent sort of idea of what will happen. So this is today, Wednesday the 14th, and as we move on, we can see that first shot of Arctic air sort of move through the Ohio Valley today through overnight. We see that there, and we can see our second shot of Arctic air coming in through northern Canada, riding through the prairie here and entering the Midwest, and it's going to really start to deepen. Um, really cool weather here by Friday afternoon across the upper Midwest, and that deepens across the Mid-South and sort of lower Midwest as well. So Saturday morning. So the Euro ensemble likes this sort of that deep cool shot, and this correlates to our GFS and our Euro operational models that I just showed with that deep Arctic air blast across the Mid-South. Our ensembles have that same idea. They like that same idea, especially Sunday morning here into the South, um, Southern Appalachians here. Yeah, even another possibility of Great Lake Arctic air. But so we have our Euro ensemble sort of liking that idea of Arctic air being that far south. So here's our Euro ensemble's total snowfall, and I'm going to do this through the end of the run. So this is our Euro ensemble snowfall run, and our Euro ensemble run has 50 different members, or at least 50 different members that sort of output what we see on the screen here. So out of 50 different members, we see this potential of highlighted, southeastern area, very low odds still, very low odds because if we look correlate to our legend down here, that's only like at 1 to 2 inches of snow. That's a very low sort of probability of snowfall. Um, if it would look like this sort of across central Wisconsin or like northern Minnesota, my confidence would be a lot higher. But, these sort of 1 to 2 inch amounts that we see, like this light gray, even the darker gray, just sort of indicates a lower probability of wintry, precipitation or snowfall. So, but we do see our ensemble hinting at a greater chance of, compared to the slider gray, of snowfall across the southeast. That is interesting to sort of look at here. Here's our GFS ensemble. So let's quickly look at this. We see our first air, Arctic air. We see our northern Canadian second wave of Arctic air start to shoot down Thursday afternoon through Friday afternoon. Really begin to deepen by Friday night here across the Midwest. And then um, only goes out to, let's do this. And then by sort of Sunday morning here, we could see, again, correlating with our operational models and our Euro ensemble, we have our trend setting up of a deep Arctic air blast sometime this upcoming weekend in the Ohio Valley and Mid-South region, even the Southeast. So time to start just looking, time to start paying attention because we have one key ingredient of getting wintry precipitation, and that is the cold air. I have personally, just looking at this, I have high confidence of this sort of cooler air moving in. Um, the biggest question is, do we have enough moisture? Do we have enough moisture to clash with that cold air to sort of cause some wintry precipitation in the south? We don't know yet, and that's gonna not really be figured out until a few days from now. So let's look at our winter weather GFS here. We'll do this through Monday morning here, 12Z, 7 a.m. Eastern Time, Monday morning. And again, we can see the GFS showing this sort of highlighted region. Again, um, low odds, sort of low probability still, but we do see that highlighted region across the southeast. So just keep an eye on this. And something to mention, comparing to our Euro, um, just to mention our Ohio Valley region, you're a lot further north with our snowfall compared to the GFS. Our GFS has several inches across much of the Ohio Valley, but only across the northern Ohio Valley and our Euro ensembles. So some discrepancy with our ensembles, but something to keep an eye on. Um, I can say with high confidence, northern Ohio, northern Indiana, central Ohio, could probably see a few inches of snow in the next several days. So and some much needed snow in our Appalachian Mountains across West Virginia and the Smoky Mountains as well. So our GFS and our Euro ensemble show that sort of probability of maybe of wintry weather in the southeast. And I'll show our extended sort of Euro ensemble model. And this weekend here again shows that nice Arctic air blast. And as we get through like the last week or so, January, um, northern half of the country could see those cooler temperatures. Southeast, deep south area could see warmer temperatures. Um, but this far out, it gets sort of hard to sort of really know what's going to happen. And maybe another active end of January, beginning of February, potentially. Maybe it's something to look forward to or keep an eye on the back of our head. But um, Yeah, I mean, nothing crazy. I don't think anything real crazy will happen the next few weeks, but I will be keeping a close eye on the southeast and just seeing how the models handle that in the future. Um, but until then, nothing serious, like I said, going to really occur, but maybe a few inches in the Ohio Valley up through the next week or so. And, watching a deep south to southeast mid-Atlantic snowstorm, or I would say snowstorm, but probability of maybe some wintry precipitation. Very low at this point, very low, less than 5% in my opinion. But we do have the Arctic air, like I mentioned, so we just need to have more confidence on if that moisture will sort of phase in with that cooler air. So until then, I'll leave it here. And it's been a pretty cool, sort of near average winter for the Ohio Valley. Snowfall looks pretty average as well. But I'll catch you guys next video, and hopefully the weather can stay relatively quiet. But um, until then, if you have any questions, let me know. And until then, I'll talk to you guys later.